Welcome back, everyone, to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. Kevin Horde here.
Lorenzo Fine here.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. It's been a while since you started one of these.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a long while. Almost 6 months, as it were.
Yeah, so Star Wars Resistance is done, and we're back to the Clone Wars, which was the original thoroughfare of this podcast. So we're getting back to our roots, I guess, right?
Yes, yeah.
So in proverbial podcast terms, last week on the Clone Wars, we started a 3-part storyline with an episode called Deception. Those episodes are available both on YouTube and on whatever your podcast catcher of choice is. If you need a little refresher, I certainly did, because it's been a little bit. Do you want to recap that at all? Do we want to talk about that, or do we just want to jump into this one?
Let's just jump in. No, we're moving forward.
All right. This episode is called Friends and Enemies. That would be Season 4, Episode 16, production code 408. Original air date is January 27th, 2012. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
So we're just carrying on with this arc of Obi-Wan in disguise, right? Is that where we're at? They're flying off into space?
Yep. That is what happened. This was directed by Bosco Ng and written by Brent Friedman to get that stuff out of the way. Yeah, so last week, Obi-Wan disguised himself as Carl's Jr., as we called him, Rico Hardeen.
I'm glad you re-listened to that. I don't remember that at all.
Thank you for giving away my secrets there. Yeah, I went ahead and went back and listened to our own episode, so I knew what the fuck was going on. And I did give it a rewatch, but yeah, we got a trio of unsavory characters, I would say, on the run, right?
Yeah. So it's Obi-Wan and Moralo Eval and Cad Bane. Yep. And then they're flying their ship and they're making their way towards Nal Hutta.
Yes, but before that, we got our fortune cookie.
Oh, right. Yes.
As Clone Wars does. Keep your friends close but your enemies closer. Lorenzo, who said it?
Oh, I'm going to go with Palpy on this one.
I said Cad Bane.
Interesting.
Yeah. Although, now that I think about it, his actions in this episode would probably prove otherwise. So,
right.
You're probably more accurate on that with Mr. Sheev Palpatine.
Yeah.
Now, would that be Sheev Palpatine or Emperor Palpatine?
I'm gonna go with Sheev here. This is it's all the same, but really, I think while he's in this like manipulative mode of kind of playing both sides, right? Like this is very appropriate for him in my mind, right?
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's been so long I forgot we did that. So Palpy I pulled out real fast.
Yeah. Hey, kudos to you. Well done.
Oh man, Resistance really took us on a side trip there.
Yeah. But we're back on course. We're course correcting.
Yeah,
we're back to the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is not course correcting. So they left Coruscant.
Yes.
And now they are in the atmosphere of Nal Hutta. That's what I'm understanding.
Yes.
And Obi-Wan deliberately crashes the ship into a swamp.
Yeah.
And this is like a wicked, gnarly crash.
Yeah, my first note is, how are they still alive after this crash? That was my first note.
My first note is Obi-Wan crashes into swamp, and my second note is this seems unsurvivable.
Right.
And then so then immediately, like, they climb out of the ship, and they're all like fucking,
they like dust themselves off and move forward.
Like, yeah, rubbing elbows and like like rubbing foreheads, like, oh man, that was like a tough crash, right? And Obi-Wan Hardeen says, we don't want anybody following us. The swamp will swallow this ship.
Right.
It seems unnecessary that they need to crash the fucking ship then. Because as they're going down, Bane's like, "You're gonna crash deliberately," and Obi-Wan's like, "Yeah, like I'm gonna destroy the ship so nobody can track it." But then after they crash and they climb out, he was like, "Yeah, the swamp's just gonna eat this thing up, so nobody'll find it."
Yeah, it seems like they could have just landed and like let the swamp take the ship, but sure, like,
yep.
I don't understand what any of that was for. So
I don't either. Bane adds to the plan that they need to ditch their prison fatigues, so they, I guess, walk into some town. Who knows how long that took? And we see some dude getting his ass whooped in the street, just like getting beat down.
Yeah.
And it's either Bane or Morale. What's his name? Moralo.
Yeah, Moralo of all.
I knew that. I'm good at my job. Either way, one of the two of them says, "Oh, it's just local security. Ignore and move on." And then they go to Pablo's pawn shop, and I totally meant to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Who does the voice of Pablo? Did you
I
catch
didn't
that?
even look. Nope, not at all.
Sometime throughout the course of this, I'm gonna find that out. I'm assuming that Pablo is named after Pablo Hidalgo.
That was my guess as well. I have no evidence of that, but that was my guess.
He's a Rhodian. They go in and they get new clothes from a pawn shop. I've never bought clothes from a pawn shop before.
No.
But hey, I guess that's a thing.
And the pawn shop has like literally everything Cad Bane wants too.
Especially a new hat.
Yeah, a new hat. And he has choices of hats too, by the way.
He's got a Dave Filoni hat that he almost puts on, but then he finds an even wider brimmed, more Cad.
You saw it as a
Banian.
Filoni hat?
Yeah, what'd you see it as?
Indie hat.
Is that not the same thing?
Not exactly, because
they're similar.
Filoni's hat's more cowboy-ish.
Okay. Then fedora-ish.
Indiana Jones is like straight fedora, right? It's like the flourishing details that separate them for me, because like...
I totally get it.
Right. Because like usually Filoni's fedoras have like that... There's like that edge, that sewn edge.
Yep.
Man, it's really weird how detailed I know what Filoni's fedoras look like versus Indiana Jones's.
So, are they officially fedoras or are they cowboy hats?
Fedoras. I think a fedora. I think a cowboy hat is a type of fedora, right?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna need like a fashion expert to explain the difference in hats to me. Because it's I would say a cowboy hat is a type of fedora. Because like Alan Grant's hat a fedora?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not. It's a fedora. It's not a cowboy hat. There's got to definitely be differences here.
Huh?
There's got to definitely be differences between a fedora and a cowboy hat.
But again, I think it's just a type of fedora. Because then what is like Crocodile Dundee's hat, right?
I don't know,
man. Because his has the one that's like pure, like he has the one that's like stapled on the side, or not stapled, just like...
It's got a snap.
Yeah, it's like just more up position, right? Like...
Yeah.
Or the hunter guy from Jurassic Park, whose name I don't recall. The clever girl guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
His is like a safari
like a hunter's
hat?
fedora.
Like a hunting safari hat?
But all still a fedora, I would say.
I don't know. I totally disagree with you on this, that everything's a fedora and it's just a different style of fedora. I don't.
For these hats, anyways. For these hats, I would go that these are fedoras.
So the hat that Cad Bane decides upon after he puts down Indiana Filoni's hat, that would also be a fedora? It's just a wider brimmed fedora?
Maybe? You carry on. I'm going to look up what the hell a fedora is and see what the official definition is. I'm like on a fedora kick now, so.
Okay. Look up the difference between a fedora and a cowboy hat. You're going to fill us in. I'm going to fill you guys in on what's happening in this episode. So after Cad gets his hat, Pablo says something about weaponry. I think Cad's like, yo, where's the weapons? And Pablo's like, oh, you know, it would be bad if somebody found out you were looking for weapons. And Cad Bane stabs him under the chin with his toothpick that he carries around in his mouth.
Right.
And this
there's a very concerned Twi'lek.
There is a very concerned Twi'lek, which I'm assuming is Padme's significant other or some other type of.
Right.
They have some type of relationship. She seems to care for him.
She's very hands-on in caring for this guy after
in her
the fact.
concern.
Yeah, being concerned, right?
Yes. So this toothpick stab. We see Pablo later in this episode, and he's still like doctoring his chin.
Yes.
So that's a pretty sharp toothpick, I suppose. Obi doesn't really like this. They leave, and Obi tries to like give some credits to the Twi'lek, and he says like, "Hey, here's for your trouble," and she just knocks it out of his hand and like says something. So of course, Obi being the righteous person that he is, has to say something to Cad about it.
Yes. I'm going to pause you real quick
Sure.
for an update on the cowboy hat versus fedora thing. All right. So I have two different websites. They're very random websites, so take these sources as you will, that I just found on Google. So a fedora, okay. A fedora will have the back brim down and the front brim up. A cowboy hat will have the brims on the sides turned up.
That's the only difference?
Apparently so, yes. So I don't know what that means if you're forcing one in that position.
Wait, you said a fedora has the back brim
up
and the front
and
down.
the front
Okay, I
brim
thought you said
down.
the other way around.
And then the cowboy hats will have the sides up. There are different subcategories of cowboy hats, including those, I think this is where those like hunter hats will fit in. And then the fedoras are the ones that are definitely more floppy, per se. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. Again, that's just like a very wide open.
Yeah, I do know that what a lot of people call a fedora, like the smaller brimmed hat that is or was associated with like hipster culture, is actually a trilby, not a fedora. So
yes,
you can add that to your list of hats to look for.
Yeah, so it seems like if it's like the more rigid with the sides up cowboy, any other sort of, I don't know where this puts Cad Bane's hat.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if all sides are up, then it's a bowler hat.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not agreeing with this. I think there's got to be there's something to the hat form as well. Like a bowler doesn't have like the indentations on the side or the top that either a cowboy hat or a fedora would have.
I think
just because it has like a sombrero has the brim turned up all the way around, right? But a sombrero and a bowler hat are much different.
Yes, I think so. Again, like yes, the shape of the actual hat itself makes a difference too.
Yep.
But so it's not just the brim; it's also that top part. But the fact that the pinches still happens on both a cowboy hat and a fedora, it's the brim that differentiates those two. A bowler hat's differentiated by both the brim being upturned across the whole way, and the round of the top. But with fedoras, that's where you can get the snap brims and stuff like that.
You can get a snap brim fedora.
Yeah. So welcome to our quick side route of looking up hats now. So yes. So the hipster hats that are more flat, that still have that pinch, those are fedoras still of some sort.
Even with the smaller brim?
Let's see. So smaller trilby are are a subcategory of fedoras. Yes. So trilbies are a type of fedora.
What website are you on? Is this the website
FashionableHats.com.
Oh, see, I thought you were on like www.lorenzoismakingshitup.com.
No. It's if you type in fedora versus cowboy hat into Google, it's the first thing that comes up.
We may have to do a special edition hat episode
of hats of all the Star Wars hats.
This might be it.
So now I'm concerned, is Alan Grant's hat, what is that? I have 2 of those. I think I typed in fedora for those.
I thought it was a fedora.
Yeah. Anyways, carry on wherever you were. We're moving somewhat forward here.
I don't know. We got stuck on hats, and then we're going from hats to weaponry. There's no transition there.
They're leaving happens.
So they leave the shop, and they've got new clothes. Cad Bane's got his hat. Obi-Wan's got a helmet. And the next thing on the list is weapons and a ship. So Cad and Obi-Wan have a disagreement over who should get which item. And it's settled that Obi-Wan is going to go find a ship. The other 2 are going to go get weaponry. We cut over to like a ship lot, and there seems to be no haggling or anything. Like, it's pretty straightforward. You get the ship, cut to Obi-Wan getting a ship. But then Moralo and Cad both show up, and Moralo is the one that has to pay this guy.
Yeah,
And Obi-Wan had thrown like a tracker on the bottom, and then tries to board with the other 2, and Cad Bane's like, no, you're not coming along. Go fuck yourself. And Obi-Wan had asked, like, where's my weapon? And that's when Cad Bane does that thing. And what he does, he gasses him, right? Shoots some gas out of his gauntlet, and Obi-Wan is down for the count. Gets knocked out by some dude with a staff. And Cad and Moralo are off on their way. At that point, we cut over to Obi-Wan, like, hung upside down.
Yeah.
Getting beat up by some Nikto. To which Obi-Wan gives up the information, like, hey, my 2 partners double-crossed me. I put a tracker on their ship. I can give you the tracking number, essentially.
Yeah.
Frequency, I think, is what he calls it. And then we cut back into the ship. It's kind of a lot of back and forth. But essentially what happened is Moralo and Cad Bane are found out. They're shot down. Moralo was, like, super fast. Moralo was Skyping with Dooku, and Dooku's like, hurry up and do your job. Like, why are you taking forever? Or whatever. And he cuts out. I don't really feel like Dooku needed to be in this.
No, I question that as well.
There's a lot of kind of up and down and ship to ship to ship to, like, a domino effect of problems in this episode. So their ship gets shot down. Obi-Wan is still hung upside down, and the Nikto basically says, hey, the deal changed. We're not letting you go. Which Obi-Wan just uses the Force to get down off the ceiling, and then does this rather cool staff maneuver and knocks this dude out. And then
he knocks him out cold, too.
Knocks him out cold, heads outside, and then he calls into Yoda, right? Yoda and Mace Windu?
Yeah, Yoda and Mace.
Says, hey, Ben's here. Call off the bounty. Give me some credits. If you call off the bounty, you're going to buy me more time, and I need some credits to buy a ship. So I guess there's like a Space Western Union that they can use, even though credits implies to me that it is some type of digital currency, but credits also, when they pay, are like chunks of metal.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this works with Yoda just...
The distance, yeah.
I mean, I guess Yoda bought some stock in something 900 years ago, and it has matured pretty well or something.
And also like, did we discuss this last time? I feel like we've discussed this before, but like, I feel like in my complete non-expertise knowledge of this, but like when somebody goes undercover, there's sort of like some sort of budget for them to operate within, right?
So we did talk about last week about how Reiko Hardin was paid, and we basically came to the assumption that he was not paid. He was going to be paid after the fact, and since there really was no murder, he didn't get paid, and he got captured instead. So when he went to receive what he thought was going to be his payment, then that's when he was taken into custody.
No. What I'm getting at though is like in this episode regarding
the undercover nature of the job, like things should be set up in advance, right?
No, not even that. The ease at which Yoda and Mace kind of send credits Obi-Wan's way, regardless of like how it gets to him. Like the fact that there's no red tape on like these credits popping up, and there's like no financial equivalent of like Jocasta Nu, who's like, when did we buy a ship and why?
Yeah, well, with all the property damage that the Jedi do,
right?
Everywhere they go, they leave just a trail of destruction often. I don't know that there's like a separate department. Like, I don't know that they have like a financial department. It seems to me like it would be an independently funded organization, and based on the structure of the Jedi Order anyway, which is like the Council and then basically everyone else.
Yeah. So you think it's just because like Yoda and Mace are so high up that they're like, yeah, we'll throw this money at you. But you know what I mean, though? Like, if NYPD goes through this, somebody's like checking those books, right? Like, somebody's definitely like, why did we give somebody like $20,000 to buy all this cocaine? You know, like,
yeah,
you know. But it's like you still have to go through that process to catch someone in the act of selling cocaine, right? Like, you just have to show money to some degree, right? And then as soon as that exchange is made, then that's the crime that has taken place, right? Like, the money gets recovered, but somewhere like NYPD still has to come up with that money. Again, this is based on zero expertise, but like just in terms of how it would play out in my mind, like someone has to keep track of this money, right?
Yeah.
Like
I actually might
know
know somebody that might have some insight on this undercover stuff. So the next time that I see that person, I will talk to them and see if I can get some answers, and then I will report back.
That'd be cool.
But in this case, due to the like hyper undercover nature of everything, like Obi-Wan Kenobi faked his own death. Like I don't know if things are self-funded by Yoda and Mace themselves, or if there is literally in the Jedi Order just a commune of funds. When you need it, you take what you need, and then because I don't think Jedi get paid, it's not like, you know, it's not like they're receiving a paycheck or they got a direct deposit or they're on salary or anything. Like everything that they have probably goes to like the good of the entire order. But also, you know, where does that money come from? Because when they're going into the Trade Federation and trying to shut them down and break down blockades and all that shit, it's not like Naboo was like, oh, thanks, here's 100 million credits. You know, they're just like, thank you for doing you.
Yeah.
You know, they're essentially penniless monks who have unlimited funds for whatever they need. Money itself is questionable when it comes to the Jedi.
Yeah, that brings up a good point, because like, how do they make their way through the world? You know,
how do
like
they
Buddhist
buy
monks
fuel for their starfighters? How do they?
Yeah, like when Obi-Wan visits Dax. Like, is he just expecting a free meal, or
Yeah.
right? Like, what's going on? Like, monks still pay their way, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Buddhist monks still pay their way through this world. Like, you know, they understand the world they live in.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
It's all just questions. So I need to look up hats
And
to prove you wrong. Undercover funding.
Yep. And the
Jedi
Jedi financial system.
Jedi finances.
Oh, man.
All right, my list is growing. Anakin's list is also growing.
Mm-hmm.
So after Obi-Wan talks to Yoda and Mace, he hangs up and he's like, pull off the bounty, send me money, don't contact me again. But at least he said his name was Ben, so they knew who he was. So it couldn't be the real Reiko Hardeen giving him the shakedown, right? Yoda and Mace are kind of like, fuck, our plan is going way, like, awry here. Like, things are not going the way they're supposed to.
They're in too deep, man.
This is not going to be good.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Yoda's like, okay, it's time to contact both Ben. No, this happens later. Cut that.
They're just contacting Palpatine.
Yep, they contact Palpatine and fill Palpatine in on what's going on. Anakin is there in Palpatine's office.
I don't even think they fill him in. They just tell him to back off on the hunt for the fugitives.
Yeah, I guess that's the conversation they have. And she's like, why are you pulling the bounty? And
then they're like, we have a plan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, like, he is not being filled in. He's just being told what to do by the Jedi at this point.
So does she know everything that's going on right now?
I don't think so. That was my question as well. I wrote that down in terms of just, like, the general question of, like, what does Palpatine know?
Uh-huh.
And I don't think it's actually much right now. Like, I think they know. I don't think he knows to the extent that, like, Obi-Wan's alive or anything.
So does he know that Dooku has hired somebody to kidnap him?
Yes, probably. He probably knows that. Yeah. He just doesn't know exactly why the Jedi would do what they're doing, perhaps. Does that make sense?
Because he immediately talks to Anakin and he's like, Anakin, they don't trust you. You should just do what you want to do. I trust you.
Yeah, I
heard they're on Nal Hutta.
I think that's just Palpatine trying to throw in his own wrench into the proceedings, you know?
Okay.
But yeah, as to his knowledge of what the Jedi are doing, I think that's lower. I have no evidence for that.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of evidence of anything regarding Palpatine right now.
Usually he's pretty on top of it. Even if he is not given the information, he somehow knows the information. So that's why my question was like, okay, what level of knowledge is he at right here? How inside is he in?
Because I really think it's just Yoda, Mace, and Obi-Wan that are in on that plan, right?
Yeah, because we talked a lot last week, like who's in on what portion. You know, was Mace the one that's going around and hiring Hardeen to begin with,
right?
You know, and we decided that there was certain people that kind of were enlisted to do certain portions of the setup for all of this stuff, but the people that knew what was going on as a whole were those three: Obi, Yoda, and Mace.
Yes.
So you don't even think that Palpatine knows that there's like some type of undercover operation to suss out.
He might know
the
he
kidnappers.
Might know there's he might know there's
plan.
something to that degree, but maybe not to again Obi-Wan's involvement.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. How do you feel about Anakin's response to what's going on? So obviously he just went to he just went to Palpatine and he's doing his Anakin episode 3 thing.
Yeah, his weekly check-ins and stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's in character. It's just like Anakin, we always get this back and forth with Anakin. And I think, to be honest, it's just this thought is kind of spurred on by the fact that, like, as of the time of this recording, I've been watching season 7 of Clone Wars, and then jumped to Revenge of the Sith to see that tie-in, and then now I'm jumping back to this in season 4, episode 16, Anakin.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a lot of flavors of Anakin, and all of it is consistent, right?
Okay.
Because I think I had this memory of talking to you last year too, because my buddy Greg and I were watching Attack of the Clones before Star Wars Celebration one evening.
Okay.
And I'll get to a point, but like I found it very odd that Anakin is so angry in that movie. Appropriately so. Super angry. That it feels so weird to me that, like, when you roll into the Clone Wars theatrical feature and then, like, the first season, that he's like this happy-go-lucky, like, oh, how you doing, Snips? Hey, yeah, we're just having fun. It's a war. Oh, how fun is this? Like, that's super weird to me. And then you get, like, this angry Anakin who comes back, and then, like, skipping ahead, you get, like, that. Right at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, you get like that, like, this is where the fun begins, Anakin, all over again. So it's just like, there's a lot of different flavors Anakin that we could get at any moment. So that's why it's like, any sort of anger issues, like, it's hard to say it's out of character for him.
Yeah.
Right. And with the knowledge that he knows, I think it's appropriate for him to react this way. I just wish it was seeded a little bit more throughout the episode, perhaps. I know I complain about this a lot, but like that whole plot A, plot B thing. Mm-hmm. But like by the time we get to Anakin, it's just like, oh, we're gonna go here. Oh, okay.
So do you consider that a plot B, like Anakin's kind of journey through this episode? Because I don't even consider it like plot B. It's just like it's like tag-along material. It's like the thing that's getting dragged along because a certain character doesn't have the information that would help him not make stupid decisions.
Yeah, let's say it's an extra layer to complicate plot A, right? Mm-hmm. So
plot complication.
Yeah, it's a plot complication for sure. And it's just that between deception and going to this, and I think it's fine, again, like, because I'm usually the one complaining about the whole plot A, plot B thing, that we do follow Obi-Wan pretty hardcore, from like the middle of deception up to the middle of this episode, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's fine. It's just like in the pacing of this episode, up to this point, like it's all Obi-Wan, and it's been moving pretty fast, honestly. Like a lot happens in the first half of this episode between crashing, getting new hats, getting new ships.
We're about to crash again, man. It's buying ships and buying hats.
Yeah, so I think it's fine. It's fine. So
okay, I'll go with that. We have witnessed one of the 31 flavors of Anakin Baskin-Robbins, and
yes.
So basically Sheev has sent Anakin on his way, right? Mm-hmm. Said, hey, go here. We cut back to Nal Hutta. Obi-Wan is chilling, having a drink, drinking a martini, looks like. At least something out of a martini glass.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to bring up when Ben is talking to Mace Windu and Obi-Wan is that he walks out of where he just escaped from by hitting the guy in the face with a stick and looks up and sees their ship crashing.
Yeah.
All of that shit happened super fast. Like, they stole the ship, or they bought the ship.
They knock out
Obi-Wan got
Obi-Wan.
gassed. He gets knocked out. He gets interrogated.
He
or
gives
tortured
away
or whatever.
the frequency.
He gives away the information. Moralo talks to Dooku. They get shot. Obi-Wan is back, hung upside down, escapes, calls Mace, and they're still crashing, but not only still crashing, but like still over
Within
the
view.
the same town.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight. That's not tight like, yo, bro, that's tight, but like tight like that's a tight timeline. That's a lot to get in.
Oh yeah, especially since the
maybe
geography
gravity is
doesn't...
weird here, and they can't fly like over the swamps because they'll crash, so they have to kind of like spiral upward through the atmosphere, and that's what's taking so long. I'm gonna go with that.
No. It's just weird geography here.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan's drinking a martini, and Cad Bane comes up, and they have a tussle. And I got the impression that he kind of jarred loose the voice modulator thing.
I thought that too. But no, like literally no consequence of that.
Yeah, I think it would have been nice if Obi-Wan had to like fake the Hardeen voice for a little bit, or
even if just like his regular voice slipped in for like a word or two, like even a syllable, you know. But nope, none of that at all. Because he like
just kind of coughs and readjusts his throat.
Yeah, massages his throat. Yeah.
Bane definitely questions where he got the money for a new ship, because Obi-Wan at this point has already bought a new ship.
Yeah.
So
this goes nowhere though. Like this absolutely goes nowhere.
Yeah, it's Obi-Wan makes up a lie saying, "Hey, the Hutts owed me one, and I turned you in, so that's what you would have done." And we're even, you know.
Yeah. No.
You fucked me, I fucked you. We're even.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. So they do. They move forward to the new ship, and as they are boarding, Anakin and Ahsoka arrive. So again, super tight timeline. Mm-hmm. I don't think that Nal Hutta is anywhere close to Coruscant. It's in the outer rim, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's in the mid rim.
At closest.
But they got there, they being Anakin and Ahsoka, got there in the same amount of time that it took Cad Bane to crash, walk back to the town, punch Obi-Wan in the throat, and walk over to the new ship.
And Anakin had to inform Ahsoka, have Ahsoka prep, get on the ship, fly over. Yeah, I don't know.
And land right next to them.
Yeah, right next to them as they're taking off, yeah.
So Ahsoka says, "Hey, there's Cad Bane."
No, not here.
No, they don't. They land and they go and talk to the bartender.
Yep. Anakin makes a lot of threats to the bartender. They say that they just missed him, so they turn around and leave again. We cut back to the other three, Obi-Wan, Moralo, and Cad, and they're fueling on Arandia.
No, we cut over to the clones for a minute. So, we cut back to Coruscant, and then
I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mace hollows into Rex, and he's like, "Yo, where's Anakin? He's not responding." And Rex is like, "I don't know. He's in the bathroom. He's busy.
Yeah. He's not responding to us either, or something. I don't know." Yeah.
So then, this is when Palpatine comes out, and he just kind of butts into the conversation and explains his plan. He's like, "Hey, you guys weren't going to do anything about it, so I sent Anakin to protect me because you guys don't care, but he does, and I care about him, and he cares about me, and we're best buddies." And then I guess that's the end of that. Then we go strictly to Yoda and Mace, and they're like, "Fuck, this shit is getting way out of hand.
We're way in too deep now.
We are not good at this. All we have is credits, and we don't know what to do with them." Mace is like, "So if I warn Obi-Wan, I'll risk exposing him, but if I don't warn Obi-Wan, Anakin is going to find him, and that's not going to go well. And if I tell Anakin, that's not going to go well either. So what do I do? And Yoda's like, fuck it. Call both of them.
But this goes nowhere either. Like, I don't understand the scene.
Thought it was... So the one thing that I did
happens.
like about this is that Yoda is like, if Hardeen Anakin finds, kill him he might. Or be killed in the process he might as well. Like, Yoda's definitely like...
stakes. Yeah.
Yoda is definitely like, okay, if we do nothing, Anakin will probably find Obi-Wan, and it's going to go badly for one or the other. Mostly it's going to go bad for Anakin, because he's either going to kill his friend or he's going to end up dead. So probably the best solution is for us to call both of them.
Right, but they don't. Not that we see.
Yeah, we definitely don't. I wonder if that happens later.
But even for the rest of the episode, there's no consequence to this action. So it sets up the stakes. It sets up the stakes.
Good point.
Of what's coming, in the fact that, but it's nothing that we wouldn't have understood anyways. Like, oh, Anakin's gonna go hunt down Rako Hardeen, who he doesn't know is his friend Obi-Wan. Like, that's the whole premise of this arc. Like,
use a point is a well said.
Yeah, we did not need to have that reestablished here, right? We didn't need to be reminded of this. Like, that's what confused. Okay, so like in the moment, I was like, oh, okay, this all makes sense. And then when I got to the end of the episode, this was a scene I remembered as to being like, what the fuck was the point of that scene?
Yeah. I guess it's just supposed to be their reaction to Palpatine being like, you guys aren't doing shit, so I did shit. Like, one of those, don't get mad at Anakin because I told him to do it. So like, Anakin, here's your free pass, Yeah,
it doesn't come off that way though. Like, especially because like there's an actionable item that just does not pay off. Like that there does not come into play at all, right? It'd be one thing if they were actually reacting to what was happening, but they set a plan that we don't hear about ever again for this episode.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
We don't even hear from them again this episode.
Nope.
So we're done with Yoda. We're done with Mace. I don't like him anymore. We're done with them.
We're done. They're out.
We cut back to Anakin, and he took the info that he got that he force choked out of the bartender. Mm-hmm. Which was, I heard one of them bought a ship. So I guess there's only one ship dealer in this town or whatever. And the ship dealer is a Bith, and he tells Anakin, like, I only gave him enough fuel to get like this far, and the only gas station there is my buddy's place. So I think this is or it's his brother, not his buddy, right?
Yes.
This is the origin of all of Disney's obsession with people running out of gas in the Star Wars universe. I blame this episode. So, of course, what happens after that is that Rako Hardeen and Morala Eval and Cad Bane are at a gas station because they need gas. And one of them is like, what kind of idiot sells a ship with only enough fuel to get us this far? Even though that gas station owner is a Bith, and he should probably be able to put two and two together. Yeah. This is probably why he's in prison, because he's not able to make those... Yeah, absolutely. This is where Anakin,
Ahsoka,
and Ahsoka arrive on time, right next to them, and
Ahsoka spots Cad Bane.
Yes, in their what appears to be like a luxury yacht. Like, this is not Obi-Wan didn't even buy like a little starfighter. Like, he bought this thing's fucking huge.
It's huge compared for the three people. Yeah,
yeah. It looks like you take a Disney cruise ship and like cut a little bit of it off and put some wings on it.
Yeah, and made it yacht size. Yeah, I agree. I had that question too. Like, it was an oddly large ship for just the three of them, because like every time they get on and off, it's like bizarre seeing the three of them because like even where the stairs that pop out, it's like in the middle of the ship too. Like it's odd positioning. It's like it's not up by the cockpit or anything,
and it's also not a ramp. Like
it's straight up stairs.
Later when it opens, it like opens like a ramp, but then they turn into stairs with handrails. Like we don't see this on any other ship.
No.
Because on all the other ships, it's not for ritzy people to drink, go out
and they aren't that
cruising.
Freaking big. Yeah, like it's weird.
They don't have that many people. It's just a little slide. It's good.
Yeah, I was wondering about why this ship and why the design of this ship and
is this ship named in the Wikipedia?
Not that I've seen. No.
Okay.
So we can look into that later.
Yeah, they're on Orandia right now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not seeing a ship name. So they do take off. The bad trio. They're able to take off, but immediately like Anakin's behind them and they fire off. Anakin fires off a couple of shots, and
does he? I thought he just straight up rammed in the ship.
Maybe he does that.
I honestly don't remember shooting. I just remember him just like a crazy road rage incensed driver. Like
I think shots are fired.
Okay,
because Cad's
you might be right.
Cad's like, what the fuck? And Moralo is like, oh, it's Jedi. Because
I think I'm thinking of, again, I think I'm mixing it up now where like later Ahsoka's piloting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely after the first altercation where it's like, you know, something happens that alerts the people on the cruise ship to know that there's a tugboat behind them.
Yeah. And then it essentially turns into a giant...
starts ramming them. And
it turns into a giant game of like bumper boats, essentially.
Obi-Wan is the one flying. Like, we go back and forth, but I guess Obi-Wan is flying like the whole time. But he's not the one that took off from Coruscant, but he ends up being the pilot after. Like, this episode, he's the pilot.
Well, like, when you pay for the ship, apparently, you get to fly.
I don't think Moralo was flying the last ship, the second ship that crashed.
Oh, you're right. Cad was flying that one,
Cad was flying that one.
You're right.
So we're getting ready for crash landing number 3 of this episode, and somehow Anakin's ship ends up in front of Obi-Wan's ship, and Anakin like jumps out, and is going to just cut through the hull, because he's in rage mode, and Obi-Wan is going to go out, and didn't he say like, you know, he's basically like, damn it, Anakin, or something. He's like, okay, I'm going to go take care of this dude. And Cad's like, nope, you killed.
I don't think he mentions Anakin's name, like, because of the close quarters he's in with the other guys, but he definitely has, like, an exasperated sigh of some sort.
Okay.
But yeah, then Cad Bane's like, no, my turn to kill a Jedi.
Yeah, so he goes out, and then there's this. It is a pretty interesting fight on the outside of this ship.
Yeah, it's a cool fight. Yeah.
Maybe not all the physics make sense.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Especially because... So the reason I was looking for the ship name is because you can often pull up the Wikipedia and it's got top speed, you know, like atmospheric speed and whatnot. And a lot of times these are in like the upwards of 1,000 mile an hour. Now I know that these ships just took off, but they're still going to be flying quickly, and the fact that these two dudes are fighting on the surface of the ship on the outside, seemingly unaffected by the slope of the ship and or gravity, and it takes a bunch of pitching and rolling to kick both of these guys off. It's kind of amazing that they're able to fight like that. It looks cool, I'll give it that. Physics not solid even for Star Wars physics, but I can move past that. This is where Ahsoka is just like ramming the ship repeatedly.
Yeah.
I don't know if she doesn't want to hurt Anakin by shooting it.
And then at some point there's like an accident too. So like as they're flying around and this fight happens, Obi-Wan like tries a maneuver where he goes like through an arch or something like that.
So Obi-Wan is like shooting these arches out.
Yeah.
In an effort to knock Anakin off.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, that could get rid of Cad Bane, because Cad Bane has been a complication for Obi-Wan's undercover mission.
Right.
Of getting the information out of Moralo Eval, right? So that could kill two birds with one stone.
Good point, yeah.
For Obi-Wan. And I guess it's not working, or what... I think what he's trying to do is he's shooting these arches to like kick up all this debris and stuff to obstruct Ahsoka's view. Mm-hmm. Because like the last one, he ducks under it and then pulls up real quick, and she smashes into the top of the ship.
Yeah. This
throws off Anakin, this throws off Cad Bane, and then everybody crashes.
Yes. I did find out information about this ship, by the way.
Sure. What you got?
So it is a luxury 3,000 space yacht.
Boom.
Also known as the Soro Sub with 2 U's, so Soro Sub, I don't know, 3,000, or Personal Luxury Yacht 3,000. It is 55.52 meters long with a maximum acceleration of 850 kilometers per hour, or 528 miles per hour.
That's fast, man.
Yeah, so it can go pretty fast. This is the first appearance of this ship in the Star Wars universe.
Is it the last appearance of the ship?
No. So we do get it in 4 more episodes of Clone Wars, and it does appear in 1 episode of Rebels, and then a couple of other things. So,
what's the name of this ship?
Luxury 3000. Yep. So.
Wow. Where'd you get that? Where'd you find that?
If you once you get to the very bottom of the Wikipedia, there's like all the ships and planets that get named in all of this. That you just have to get the long drop down menu going.
Huh. How about that?
So, yeah, while you're talking, I was trying to figure this out because I was so curious about this ship. Yeah, this is the first time we've seen the ship, so that's confirmed. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
So.
Yeah, so this thing can accelerate up to 500 and something miles an hour.
528, yeah.
That is fast. Even if they're at like half throttle, you would think that they would...
Even if they're going like 100 miles an hour, I mean, it's just...
Right.
Like, yeah, I don't know. But again, so like when these two ships crash...
I'm giving you... Go ahead.
Well, when these two ships crash, Anakin and Cad get thrown off, and again, they're not dead. I don't get this. But, they dust themselves off. Not a single injury whatsoever. No broken bones. No broken arms or legs. Everything's fine. Everything's fine and dandy.
Yeah. At this point, Obi-Wan definitely says, Anakin, and then, like, runs out there. Mm-hmm. And there's a confrontation between the two of them. And Anakin is straight gonna drop the killing blow, man. He's like, this is for Obi-Wan. He's got, lightsaber ignited overhead, getting ready to strike. Cad Bane swoops in, shoots him with a cable. Jedi are not good with cables, except for Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones, when he falls off the side of Topeka City. Mm-hmm. He's cool with the cable then. And then Luke is pretty good with the cable in the Death Star. But other than that, people that have jetpacks or jet boots that shoot cables instantly take Jedi out.
Yep.
I think that's the way it works. So Bane like flies off with Anakin because he wants the kill, essentially. Mm-hmm. Instead of letting Hardeen have it. Mm-hmm. Right. And then we do see Ahsoka, like, she just kind of rubs her forehead and she's like, starry-eyed for a second, hops out, and she kind of tries to jump over to join the action. I don't remember what happens to Cad, but something happens.
They all run off, basically.
And so, like, Obi-Wan starts to fight Anakin again, and he chokes him out.
Before we get to that point, this fight, there's one cheap shot from Anakin that thought was weird to see from any Jedi, but he gives him a swift kick in the nuts.
Okay, so that's what happens to Cad then, right? That's what takes him out of.
No, Anakin kicks Obi-Wan in the nuts.
Oh.
And I thought that was real weird. Because, like, Obi-Wan just takes it and doesn't say anything. But, like, cheap shot, man. Cheap shot.
So, maybe Hardeen had his testicles removed so that...
That's how you discovered that it's not Reiko,
or maybe... Or even maybe-er. Like, double maybe. That's normally what they do to Jedi. But they couldn't do that to Anakin because he was too old. So that's why they were reluctant to bring him into the Jedi Order.
No, it was a weird move to see choreographed in an animated thing, Star Wars.
I mean, last week Anakin was calling Hardeen out for being drunk. So we're trending away from.
No, that's fine, but it's still like weird to see Jedi just go for a nut shot, like, you know, like all that training, it just comes down to kick him in the nuts.
Is this still when he's all bound up with Cable?
I don't even think so. Like, no, this is like when they're full blown fighting.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, Anakin just throws his leg out there.
So I take it this would be why Obi-Wan is savagely just beating him about the face and neck area.
No, I mean he still has to maintain his cover.
Back, and he's taking some hard shots at Anakin.
Well, no, he has to maintain his cover though, because like Cad Bane's already on his case.
Yeah, but when he chokes him out, okay, he's got to maintain his cover. But then he chokes Anakin out and whispers sweet nothings in his ear, like, you shouldn't have followed me, and just chokes him out and leaves him. Like, Cad Bane the whole time has been like, kill Jedi. Like, if you were a real man, you wouldn't take him out with a sniper rifle. You'd just kill a Jedi. And instead he chokes him out, gets up, and leaves him there.
I don't think Cad Bane's been saying that. I think Cad Bane just needs to see, like, because, like, what is known about Hardeen is that he's like a savage, basically, right? Like, he killed his mother because he was bored, right?
No, that was Moralo Evolved.
Oh, that was Moralo? Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was Moralo. So that's how... So when Obi-Wan goes to prison last week...
Right.
In disguise, Moralo comes up, and he's like, hey, why'd you kill that Jedi? And Obi-Wan's like, yeah, I guess you could say I was bored.
Right.
So in this situation where supposedly Hardeen killed Obi-Wan Kenobi because he was bored, and then now he's in a fisticuff with another Jedi that kicks him in the nuts, he would probably just snap the dude's neck.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Cad Bane is like right there, like right behind him, so it's not like he doesn't see it. And then they stand up or whatever. Ahsoka pops in with her awesome dual blades, deflecting many a blaster fire. And then Cad says to her, basically like, hey, princess, you're lucky we're in a hurry. I'm going to let you live. We'll have to dance another time, which I thought was a really funny line. We'll have to dance another time. And then so they leave. And then Ahsoka is able to wake up Anakin, and he's like rubbing his head and coming to his senses. She's like, oh, what is it? And he feels something, right? Does he realize that Hardeen is Obi-Wan, or does he just realize that because, like, right before he is choked out unconscious, he gets that revelatory look on his face, eyes wide, mouth open, and then, you know, his eyes roll back in his head.
I don't think he knows that Hardeen is Obi-Wan, but he knows Obi-Wan is alive.
Right.
Right. That's what I got out of that. So Hardeen, as it were, is relaying information to Anakin, but Anakin doesn't really understand it at the moment, right? But it does feel like Obi-Wan's doing something Force related here as well, right? Like, is he like
when he like whispers in Anakin's ear? I mean, he doesn't really whisper, but he might as well be embracing him from behind and then whispering something in his ear before he chokes him out.
Like, this is a weird way to phrase it, but is he force feeding Anakin information?
Maybe, like Force suggestion. It's possible.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's something. There's something there.
Yeah.
Even if it's like projecting like a feeling.
Yes.
To Anakin. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have anything to do with like actual message or words or anything. Like I'm more inclined to kind of read the situation like that, and that's why Anakin is like, okay, something's up. Like I feel like the life presence of Obi-Wan, and it was almost channeled through this guy, but this is the guy that was supposed to kill him. Like, yeah, something's going on here. I need to look deeper into this as the real life Kevin needs to look deeper into hats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got out of that moment for sure.
Yeah, so I'm down with that. It was a nice conclusion, kind of this middle of the road story that we got going on, I think. And then I think the official, like, before we cue loud music and Iris in, it's Hardeen and Cad like walking back to the ship, right? Maybe.
Honestly, no. I think we do still get one more scene with Yoda and Windu, right?
I have no idea. What do you got?
Is this when they learn that Palpatine? No, you're right. I think you're right. I'm just mixing stuff up.
It either ends with Anakin and Ahsoka, or it ends with like
the trio
like
walking
Anakin's.
No,
like,
I think it's Ahsoka. I think it's Ahsoka and Anakin, and Anakin like says his thing, and then we Iris in from there.
Iris in, cue loud music.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Right.
Iris in, cue loud music. Where was Eval during all this ground altercation after his
he's just hanging out in the ship,
crash
basically.
landing of the day?
No, he's just hanging out in the ship. He's tired.
Hey, fair enough. So I read through the credits, and I didn't bother to look who voiced Pablo.
Matt Lanter.
Who was it?
Matt Lanter.
There we go.
So he's
Anakin
doing double
Skywalker
duty
himself.
Yep.
Pulling double duty.
Yep.
But I did notice that Cy Snoodles had a voice credit here.
Yes. Yeah.
Where was she?
She shows up when Hardeen / Obi-Wan is waiting outside of the... Ooh, no, now I'm mixing it up. It's either when he's waiting outside of the bar, or it's when Ahsoka and Anakin go into the bar to figure out where the trio went. And at that same time, we see Cy Snoodles walking out, holding on to 2 Twi'leks, I think, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she does make like a very lewd reference. Like, I can't remember exactly what she said, and I wish I wrote it down. But things are strongly implied on what is about to transpire, and it seems like there might even almost be a monetary exchange.
Are you
services.
Suggesting that there is dialogue implying prostitution?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
It's either prostitution or it's just a straight up like they're drunk and they're going to try and have a one-night stand. But there's 3 of them. Yeah.
So 3-night stand.
No. There are 3 people partaking in one single night stand. So.
Yeah, I get it.
So, yeah.
One other thing of note before we give this our final judgment, the first hat that Cad Bane does look at is as far as the continuity on Wikipedia goes, considered to be Indiana Jones's iconic fedora. So you were right there.
Yep, I saw Indy's hat.
Indy's hat makes an appearance, or one very similar, because I don't think that the actual Indiana Jones hat is that old. You know, I mean, this takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Hey, man, it travels around. That hat's traveled around. So.
Hey, there we go. It's got mystic powers, maybe. We're going to find out in Indy 5 when that comes out 15 years from now.
Oh, God, yeah. If it does.
I'm less excited about that now that Steven Spielberg is not attached, but I am still excited about the movie should it happen.
I don't know.
So.
Yeah, I don't know.
But enough about Indiana Jones. Let's talk about the other man in the hat. What do you give this one? A thumbs up, thumbs down?
I'll give this a thumbs up.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. It was a fun enough episode. It's not perfect, and I had even without our like deep dive, like as soon as the episode was over, I had my own issues with it, you know. Mm-hmm. But on the whole, it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely
I would agree it is entertaining. I'll agree. Mm-hmm. I will give this one a thumbs up. It, as much as things transpired, I feel like little happened.
I agree. Yes.
It's a whole bunch of actual up downs. Like they get a ship, they crash. They get another ship, they crash. They get another ship, they crash. And then they get back on the ship. In that final battle, the only time that we do see Eval, he comes out and he's like, "Hey, the ship still fucking works. Let's go."
Right. Yeah.
And then they get back on the ship and they leave. So they're in the exact same position that they started in, with the exception that Anakin is now on their trail actively, and he knows something's going on.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's punches were thrown.
Yeah.
Fights happened. You know, some stuff went on, and you know, it kind of is what it is. But
yeah. Exactly. Like it, you know, this isn't an episode I would say like must be seen to understand Star Wars or anything like that.
I don't even know if it must be seen in this 3-part story arc.
Right. But you know, it's fine. It's a fine episode.
Yeah.
You know?
It's fun to be back to the Clone Wars. I will say that.
Yeah. So it's a different mode than Resistance for sure.
Yeah.
Especially season 2.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You got anything else on this one, man?
No,
I mean,
let's wrap it up.
I think everything's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, close it up, sir.
So I used to like track who the bad guy was of the episode. Would you call that Cad Bane? Like, is there a bad guy here? I don't know. Is it Palpatine? Know. Palpatine's the one kind of stirring the pot the most, but I don't even know.
I think Cad is probably the most antagonistic character of this whole episode. I guess. Based on, I don't know.
I will say, moving away from who the bad guy is, I kind of felt bad for Ahsoka in this, because I feel like she's getting drug along on like some Anakin vendetta journey that Anakin shouldn't really be on in the first place. And I don't think that Ahsoka knows everything that's going on, because Anakin does say like, yeah, I know they're on Al-Hutta because I have a source, but then he also says it came from the Chancellor himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Anakin's explaining everything fully to Ahsoka. He's like, "Yo, this is what we're doing."
I don't know. I feel like she has a good sense. Like, they're just going off after Obi-Wan's killer, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she needs to know anything else, you know?
Okay. Fair enough.
Like, hey, this guy killed your friend. We're going to go find him.
Okay.
Cool. Right? To me, it's what I find interesting to see is that how calm she is with his aggressive negotiation, shall we say?
Man,
right?
Not even like fucking murderous tendencies.
Right. Like,
he's ready to murder anybody that's not giving him the information that he wants right now.
Like a fucking bartender, right?
That dude's got two throats, and he was crushing both of them.
Yeah. So that's what kind of threw me off, was like she's just like kind of in the background, and
she's not even like taken aback or anything. It's just like Anakin is as usual. And I guess maybe that being said, this is almost more insightful of like Anakin's turn to the dark side than some of the stuff that is supposed to be like, oh, this is how it happened.
Right.
Because along this journey that he has taken with Ahsoka, he's able to do these things, and she's not even flustered.
Not phased. Yeah.
Not phased at all. It's just like Anakin's,
this is
SOP.
Who he is. Yeah. Just who he is.
It's his style.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of glad you brought that up real quick, because I did have that thought and just completely forgot about it until now. So.
And that actually brings this episode up a little bit more. Like, I feel like it's a little more important than just, punchy, crash.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
I'm not saying this is in, like, top 10 essential viewing, but I'm saying this is definitely a character building episode for Anakin, surprisingly, because he's, like, a subsidiary character in this.
Yeah.
So, hey, kudos to the Clone Wars.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Close this out. Who you usually think?
Nobody.
Screw those people.
Yeah, we got a couple behind-the-scenes people. Kevin Warren at They Call Me K-Dub did our hero pose for us. Lindsay over at strangefantasymusic@gmail.com put our opening and closing music together, and then Anthony at Bluebeard on Twitter is the guy that designed our website. Speaking of which, you can head on over to notthenerds.com if you want to get a hold of us. It's got, whatever links you need there. So you can go to notthenerds.com to find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and beyond. So that is the most direct way to find all of our information compiled in one space. So next week, we have an episode called The Box, and we're continuing with the Clone Wars for a while, folks. So Lorenzo and I were discussing numbers today as far as numbers of episode and when things are going to come out, and I was surprised at the longevity of what we have to go.
Yeah, we got a while yet still. We have got a while, so.
But that notwithstanding, next week is The Box, which is the 87th episode of the Clone Wars. Join us then. Until then, I've been Kevin.
I've been Lorenzo.
These are the nerds you're looking for.
Bye-bye.